The time is precisely 1:15 p.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. News edited by Ramesh Peris and read by Chandima Veerakon. Headlines. UN commemorates World Cities Day today. Work from home back in the Western Province. Sri Lanka, China sign supplementary agreement on water supply, technology cooperation. COVID-19, confirmed cases in Sri Lanka cross 10,000 mark. Entering or leaving the Western Province during the quarantine curfew hours prohibited, except essential services. The government of Japan extends a grant for humanitarian demining efforts in northern Sri Lanka. On international news, number of COVID-19 cases cross 44 million worldwide. In sports news, it's cricket. Indian Premier League, Ben Stokes helps Rajasthan Royals beat Kings 11 Punjab. Local stories in detail. World Cities Day is commemorated today. The United Nations General Assembly designated this day to promote the international community's interest in global urbanization, push forward cooperation among countries in meeting opportunities and addressing challenges of urbanization and contributing to sustainable urban development around the world. The 2020 World Cities Day, themed Valuing Our Communities and Cities, underlines the importance of the local communities who are at the heart of building sustainable cities. Issuing a message to mark the day, Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa called on all citizens to face the challenges of urbanization and join hands to contribute to sustainable urban development. As a measure to contain the prevailing wave of coronavirus spread, all public institutions in the Western Province and other major townships are required to adopt the work-from-home mechanism again. The relevant circular was issued by the Secretary to the President, P.B. Jayasundara, to all Cabinet and State Ministry Secretaries, Chief Secretaries of Provinces, District Secretaries, Government Agents, Heads of Departments and Chairpersons and General Managers of State Corporations and Statutory Bodies. These guidelines are specifically applicable to Colombo, Gampaha and Kalutara districts where the movements are restricted due to the spread of the virus. Sri Lanka today recorded the 20th COVID-19 related death. The Health Ministry confirmed that a 54-year-old female patient under medical care fell victim to virus at the Colombo National Hospital. The individual, a resident of Colombo 12, was identified as a diabetic patient. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Health announced that the total COVID-19 cases confirmed in Sri Lanka went past the grim milestone of 10,000 as of yesterday. The latest spike in figures came after 314 more persons were tested positive for the virus within the day. Health Ministry's data revealed that Sri Lanka has confirmed 10,424 novel coronavirus infections to date. The epidemiology unit says 6,123 active cases continue to receive treatment at selected hospitals across the country. Sri Lanka's COVID-19 recoveries total, meanwhile, reached 4,282 earlier today. The police spokesman, DIG Ajit Rohana, says that no one will be allowed to enter or leave the Western Province during the quarantine curfew hours. However, those engaged in essential services would be permitted to perform their duties as required. Also, travel from one province to another through the Western Province at any time during the quarantine curfew has been banned. The police media spokesman said that the expressway too cannot be used to travel from the Western Province to another province during the quarantine curfew period. Meanwhile, the police spokesman said persons who left the Western Province before curfew came into effect will be placed under isolation for 2 weeks at respective establishments they are currently staying at. DIG Rohana said the police, along with the assistance of tech experts, have launched probes into those who posted in social media about leaving the province prior to curfew. This news comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Continuing with the local stories, the government of Japan has provided a total sum of $636,363 to the HALO Trust for Humanitarian Demining Activities in northern Sri Lanka. The grant contract was signed remotely due to the prevailing COVID-19 situation on 29 October 2020 between Mr. Sugiyama Akira, Ambassador of Japan, and Ms. Belinda Was, Program Manager of the HALO Trust, due to the contract was signed remotely. The project will contribute to the efforts of the government of Sri Lanka in ensuring that mine-contaminated areas are safe, enabling the resettlement of the displaced people and enhancing directly or indirectly more than 5,000 people's livelihoods in Kilinochchi, Mulethu and Jaffna districts. 98 suspects have been arrested by police in special raids carried out from 6 a.m. yesterday until 5 this morning in the Western Province. A majority, 51, were arrested for the possession of illegal stocks of alcohol. 15 suspects were arrested for the possession of heroin, 10 suspects were arrested for the possession of marijuana, and 8 for the possession of Goda. Furthermore, 14 suspects were arrested for the possession of other illegal narcotic substances. Air Vice Marshal Sudarshana Karagada Patirana has been appointed as the 18th Commander of Sri Lanka Air Force. The SLAF media said the appointment made by President Gotabaya Rajapaksa will come into effect from the 2nd of November. Patirana joined the Air Force on the 2nd of July 1985. Upon completion of his basic ground training at SLAF Diatalava, he had secured the award for the best cadet of the 14th Officer Cadets intake. He is a past student of the Dharmaraja College in Kandy. To end the local news, the headlines again. UN commemorates World Cities Day today. Work from home back in the Western Province. Sri Lanka-China signs supplementary agreement on water supply technology cooperation. COVID-19 confirmed cases in Sri Lanka cross 10,000 mark. Entering or leaving the Western Province during the quarantine curfew hours prohibited, except essential services. The government of Japan extends a grant for humanitarian demining efforts in northern Sri Lanka. That ends the local news.
A mother knows the pain of each member of the family. Siddhalepa, the trusted relief for aches and pains.
An effective therapy for relief from cold, sneezing, flu, headaches, swelling due to toothaches, rheumatic, discomforts, and muscular aches and pains. Siddhalepa, the Veda Mahatmya in every home.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Veda Mahatmya.
On the main news story, the Charge d'Affaires of the Chinese Embassy in Sri Lanka, Hu Wei, and Water Supply Minister Vasudevanana Kara signed a supplementary agreement to the MOU on Water Research and Technology Cooperation recently on behalf of the Chinese Academy of Sciences and the Ministry of Water Supply of Sri Lanka, respectively. It is a follow-up of the important consensus reached by senior Chinese diplomat Yang Jiechi with both President Gotabaya Rajapaksa and Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa on water supply and technology cooperation between the two countries during the recent high-level meeting in Colombo. According to the MOU, a state-of-the-art joint research and demonstration center for water technology has been established recently in the campus of University of Peradeniya, Kandy, with total construction area of 5,000 under the Chinese grant over 3.4 billion rupees in the next 5 years.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Veda Mahatmya. Brush your teeth twice a day for healthy teeth and gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, your trusted brands in oral care for many years.
Supiriviki Ayurvedic toothpaste for adults. Kakulu Ayurvedic toothpaste for kids. 9 Ayurvedic ingredients of Supiriviki will protect your teeth and strengthen your gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, products from Siddhalepa.
Moving on to Watchlight, the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation says selected fuel stations in the Western Province will remain open for essential services during the curfew period. Thereby, 62 fuel stations in the Colombo district, 68 in Gampa district, and 27 in Kalutara district will be open for services. More details on the selected fuel stations can be obtained from the official website of the CPC, www.cipetco.lk. Moving on to world news, the headlines. The number of COVID-19 cases crossed 44 million worldwide amid US coronavirus cases surpassed 9 million. Rescuers work through night in quick-hit Turkey. Muslims in Middle East, Asia protest Macron's remarks. According to World Health Organization data, the number of infected cases has crossed 44 million worldwide. France and Germany have ordered sweeping restrictions on social life to contain a surge in coronavirus infections. Meanwhile, coronavirus infections passed 9 million yesterday, with the virus spreading across the United States at a faster rate than previously seen. The US added 1 million new COVID-19 cases only 14 days after the nation hit 8 million cases, and multiple states continue reporting their highest daily case counts since the pandemic began, according to data compiled by Johns Hopkins University. This is the fastest the country has added 1 million new cases since the pandemic began. The earthquake and tsunami that hit the Aegean Sea between Turkey and Greece has left 26 people dead in both countries. Rescuers in Turkey searched through the night for survivors trapped in destroyed buildings. The powerful earthquake, with a magnitude of 7.0, struck on Friday afternoon. The quake also triggered tsunami waves. Authorities in Turkey and Greece say a total of 812 people have been injured. About 4,000 rescue workers have arrived in the hardest-hit province of Izmir in western Turkey. Muslims in Asia and the Middle East have gathered for large protests following comments about Islam by French President Emmanuel Macron. Macron said in early October that Islam is experiencing a crisis today all over the world. He also pledged to protect freedom of expression after killing later in the month of a school teacher who showed caricatures of the Prophet Muhammad during a class. Many Palestinians in Jerusalem, one of Islam's holy cities, rallied after Friday prayers. As some demonstrations escalated, police in Lebanon and Pakistan fired tear gas. To end the world news, the headlines again. The number of COVID-19 cases crossed 44 million worldwide amid US coronavirus cases surpassed 9 million. Rescuers work through night in quick-hit Turkey. Muslims in Middle East, Asia protest Macron's remarks. That ends the world news.
Development News is brought to you by...
When Aya bought a motorbike, he bought 2 helmets. So sweet of him. I'm sure the other one is for me.
In whatever we do, we Sri Lankans are always thinking of others. When we get Munchie Super Cream Crackers, they're not just for ourselves. Munchie Super Cream Cracker. Super kiyanne nikan neve.
And on development news, the Kalani Right Bank water treatment plant is the joint largest in the country and is expected to benefit more than 1.7 million people in industrial zones and fast-growing suburbs of northern Colombo and Gampaha. The newly constructed water treatment plant will be ceremoniously opened in November 2020, following on-schedule completion despite the prevailing COVID-19 global pandemic. KRB Stage 2 was monumental undertaking aiming to double the existing plant's capacity. The project was implemented by the NWSDB with the main contractor Suez of France, a global expert in the sector who is the largest drinking water provider in the world.
When Tati bought a new family car, it wasn't just for the 4 of us.
It's a 10-seater van. Enough for friends and relatives too.
Mummy insisted on building an extra room in our new house.
Well, you never know who'll come to stay. We need more pillows too.
When I was studying late, Nangi would come by to help.
No, I don't know physics, but I do know you need a Munchie Super Cream Cracker.
In whatever we do, we Sri Lankans are always thinking of others.
When we get Munchie Super Cream Crackers, they're not just for ourselves.
Munchie Super Cream Cracker. Super kiyanne nikan neve.
Sports News is brought to you by
Munchie Chocolate Cream Biscuit. Chocolate in every bite.
And in sports news, Ben Stokes propelled Rajasthan Royals to a 7-wicket victory over Kings 11 Punjab to keep the Royals in the Indian Premier League reckoning. Stokes opened the batting, clubbed 50 from 26 balls to set Rajasthan on their way to a target of 186, which they reached with 15 balls to spare. Kings 11 had earlier been lifted to 185 for 4 by Chris Gale's 99. The Royals joined fourth-placed Kings 11 on 12 points in a congested hunt for the play-off places. With 4 teams due to qualify for the knockout games, all of Kings 11 Kolkata Knight Riders, Sunrisers Hyderabad and Rajasthan, the teams placed 4th to 7th in the 8-team table, can advance if they win their remaining games.
Hey guys, we've got our very own Queen Bear here to review something for us.
Okay, here we go. Is the right amount of crunch and OMG so much chocolate. The texture is so good. It's creamy and velvety and just so much chocolate. The packaging is super cool and new and there's like so much chocolate. And OMG, the taste, it tastes like so good and there's so much chocolate. Like with every bite. 10 out of 10 for me.
Munchie Chocolate Cream Biscuit. Chocolate in every bite.
Empower your dreams with NSB Wings. NSB Wings. Reach out the high goals.
Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money.
On business news, blessed with an abundance of wildlife, Sri Lanka attracts a significant number of tourists every year visiting the island to experience the exotic creatures living in the stunning natural parks. Hence, Sri Lanka Tourism Promotion Bureau is taking the initiative to stream popular wildlife parks online from 4 prominent national parks of the island, which will let the viewers experience wildlife from the comfort of their own home. This will showcase Sri Lanka's rich biodiversity and remind foreign visitors that nature and wildlife is still thriving in Sri Lanka amidst these challenging times. Streaming will commence from 4th to 13th of November, featuring safari drives at Minneria, Kaudulla, Udavalava and Yala National Parks.
Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money.
The wait is over and it's time for you to experience happiness. It's time to remap the graph for success. It's time to rebuild your empire. It's time to initiate your entrepreneur dreams. Empower your dreams with NSB Wings. Get your 2-year personal loan for just 7% per annum, starting from 500,000 rupees to 10 million rupees. All you need is just one guarantee. NSB Wings. Recharge the high goals.
Economic news. Courtesy of...
Congratulations on your promotion. It will be our treat, huh?
How about today?
Oh no, I was just joking.
It's fine. I have my LOLC credit card with me. Let's go out today.
Introducing LOLC Finance Credit Cards. Fuel the goodness in you.
And on economic news, the Monetary Board of the Central Bank, having considered the request made by the Axis Bank Limited, India, consequent to a policy decision taken in 2019 on its global operations, has granted approval to close down business operations of Axis Bank Limited in Sri Lanka and cancel the license issued to it in terms of provisions of the Banking Act No. 30 of 1988, subject to several terms and conditions. Therefore, the license issued to Axis Bank Limited to carry out on banking business was cancelled with effect from 30th October 2020.
Hello, Puta. Did you land already?
We're in transit and our flight got delayed.
How is Shani? Poor thing with her pregnancy.
Calm down, everything is sorted. Why, I have my LOLC World Card with me. We are at the VIP lounge.
LOLC Finance Credit Cards. Fuel the goodness in you.
And finally, on the weather report, the Department of Meteorology says showers or thunder showers will occur at several places in the Uva, Eastern and North Central provinces and in Hambantota, Mullaityu and Vaunia districts in the afternoon. Fairly heavy falls above 50 millimeters can be expected at some places, particularly in the Uva province and in Trincomalee and Ampara districts. To end this bulletin of news, the headlines again. UN commemorates World Cities Day today. Work from home back in the Western Province. Sri Lanka, China signed supplementary agreement on water supply technology cooperation. COVID-19 confirmed cases in Sri Lanka crossed 10,000 mark. Entering or leaving the western province during the quarantine curfew hours prohibited except essential services. The government of Japan extends a grant for humanitarian demining efforts in northern Sri Lanka. On international news, number of COVID-19 cases cross 44 million worldwide. In sports news, it's cricket. Indian Premier League, Ben Stokes helps Rajasthan Royals beat Kings 11 Punjab. With that, we conclude this bulletin of news from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.